Hello everyone, retro gaming lovers. Today I take you to the magical world of arcades, and how can you not start with the most classic of classics? With Asteroids Deluxe, where shooting space rocks and UFOs is your only life mission. Ready to explode pixels? Ah, Asteroids Deluxe, the sequel that no one asked for, but which arrived anyway. Basically, take asteroids, add a shield that works whenever it wants, and voila! Enemies now have brains, or at least try to make you think they do, with more intelligent and complex movements. The vector graphics still look great, but with the fluorescent colors it feels like playing on acid at an 80s rave. Fun and incredibly difficult. But well, if you don't like random collisions with asteroids appearing out of nowhere, maybe this isn't for you.
Directly from Italy with Fury, Astro Wars by Zaccaria. Get ready to travel into space, or at least try not to be destroyed by aliens. Astro Wars, Zaccaria's attempt to give us a space war worthy of the name. Imagine taking the concept of space invaders, adding a bit of psychedelia and sound that sounds like something out of a science fiction B-movie. The gameplay? Shoot the aliens and hope your ship holds out long enough. The controls are good, but the precision of the shots is another story. Expect more misses than in a beauty parade. The retro atmosphere is pure nostalgia. But repetition becomes your number one enemy, more than the damned aliens.
Sidim's Astropal, a game so rare that even aliens probably don't know it exists. Ready to shoot pixels into space, Astropal is the Italian answer to all Galaxian clones, but with that touch of creativity that only Sidim could offer. Imagine facing waves of aliens who seem more motivated than you to win this space war. The minimalist graphics are an understatement. There are fewer colors here than in a Kafka book. If you love difficult challenges and impossible games, this is your paradise. Defects? Well, the controls are stiffer than an old joystick, and the soundtrack. Wait, what soundtrack?
Now let's talk about another clone that rides the Space Invaders wave with great originality. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Attack UFO. Yes, the name is so generic it's almost endearing. Attack UFO is the classic Space Invaders clone that tries to do the same job, but with a budget that was probably all spent on coffee. The enemies are square aliens with zero personality, but hey, they shoot anyway, so be careful. The graphics are practically a carbon copy of the original, only with a few extra aliens who seem more lost than you. If you love the genre, it's another way to destroy UFOs. Zero originality, and the difficulty is so random that sometimes it feels like playing space roulette.
And now I bring you a gem from the Spanish arcades, Coco Loco by Pataco. Yes, you read that right, and no, this is not a tropical drink. Get ready for an experience that's as crazy as the name. Coco Loco is a game that starts with a title that makes you think, what exactly am I about to play? The answer is a kind of Pac-Man on acid, with gameplay based on mazes full of fruit, enemies that chase you, and a protagonist who looks like a cross between a coconut and a mad goblin. The controls are, let's say, peculiar, and if you like being chased by enemies more stubborn than a tax collector, this game is for you. Advantages? Fun and chaos and full of color. Defects? The difficulty is unbalanced and the movements are more slippery than a skating rink.
Fancy a ride through hell with Universal's Devil Zone? No, it's not a horror video game, but after playing it might give you some nightmares. Get ready to enter the Devil Zone, and don't forget your token. Devil Zone is a game that mixes space shooter and cosmic chaos, where you face waves of enemies and wonder why they didn't warn you to bring a fire extinguisher to put everyone out the hellish bullets coming your way. The game mechanics are simple. you shoot everything that moves and hope the devil gives you a break. The controls are responsive, but the difficulty is so high that it feels like it was designed to make you suffer. Advantages? It's fast, frenetic, and with a good variety of enemies. Defects? The difficulty will make you curse more than you would in a Dark Souls game, in arcade mode.
Now a clone trying to steal the show from the legendary Galaga. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Fantastic. Yes, the name sounds promising, but let's see how fantastic there really is. Fantastic is practically a clone of Galaga, but with less charm and more attempts at originality. Basically, you find yourself shooting at hordes of aliens that arrange themselves in classic formations, but with slightly less refined graphics and more rigid movements. Enemies are more lethargic, but don't let that fool you, because one wrong shot and you'll find yourself staring at the game over sign sooner than you think. If you like Galaga, it's another opportunity to shoot aliens. Defects? Too similar to the original, but without the precision that made Galaga a classic. Plus, the repetitiveness makes you want to change the game after a few levels.
We descend into the depths of the arcade with Future Flash by Hoei Corporation, a game that promises futurism in pixel strokes, and maybe some blinding reflections. But will it really be as flash as the title suggests? Let's see it together. Future Flash is one of those games that tries to be a braggart in the world of space shooters. The gameplay is a mix of classic vertical shooting with some enemies that seem to come out of a B-series science fiction film. The controls are solid, but the difficulty is a roller coaster. One moment everything is calm, and the next moment it's a blast of lasers and enemies that make you wish you had a spaceship tougher than a cardboard box. Good pacing, unpredictable challenges, and decent graphics for the time. The soundtrack is more monotonous than a broken alarm clock, and the fluctuating difficulty can be frustrating for the less patient.
Another clone that tries to borrow the space glory of the great classics. Let's talk about Galactica by Taito do Brasil. A title that promises us distant galaxies and epic battles, and even makes us dance the samba. But let's see if it really manages to bring something new to the vast universe of clones. Galactica is, for a change, a clone of Galician, surprised, but with that Brazilian touch that makes everything a little more interesting. The gameplay is the classic formula: ship at the base, aliens raining down on you, and you desperately trying not to end up badly. The graphics are solid, but the gameplay pace is slightly slower than its bigger brother Galician. Enemies? They have the AI of a toaster, but they make up for it with numbers. It's a good clone, solid and fun for those who love to shoot without worries. Originality is lacking, and if you have already played Galician, it will just seem like a version with a little less adrenaline.
Taito Intruder. A game that promises to make you feel like you're defending your home from an alien invasion, and also makes you want to invest in a good security system. Intruder is essentially a mix between a shooter and a defense game, where you'll have to face waves of enemies who seem more determined to piss you off than to conquer the Earth. The graphics are typical of the era, but with animation that makes your enemies look clumsier than an elephant on a trampoline. The controls are quite responsive, and the feeling of power as you destroy aliens is, well, awesome. Fast-paced gameplay and some variety in enemies. Repetition can make you feel like you're doing the same action over and over again.
Invader's Revenge by Zenitone. Ready to find out if this space revenge lives up to its name? Invader's Revenge is basically a reworking of Space Invaders, but with a decidedly more aggressive attitude. This isn't just about repelling aliens, it's about teaching them a lesson they won't forget. The gameplay is simple and straightforward. Control your ship and bomb everything that moves. The graphics have that retro charm, but it looks more like a kindergarten work than a great classic. The game is fun and makes you feel like a true galactic hero as you unleash your fury on your enemies. Defects? The lack of originality is palpable, and after a while the frustration can grow more than the waves of aliens assaulting you.
Get ready for Mad Alien, the 80s arcade gem where you drive a car and shoot aliens. Imagine if Space Invaders and a driving game had a strange child. The controls? Reactive like a potato. But you know, it's the retro charm. Graphics? Oh, a sight, a rainbow nightmare of clashing colors and aliens that look like a child's doodles. And the soundtrack? A glorious mess of bleeps and bloops that will haunt you in dreams or make you question your life choices. But hey, it's got that, so bad it's good, charm. Go for it, maybe with some earplugs.
Don't you still have enough Galaxian clones? So get this too. Magical spots, aliens invading the Earth, you who try to repel them and so until the end of your days. In the 80s they had a phobia of aliens, that's for sure, they had it done well at least. And those deformed sprites would be aliens?
MegaTac is a classic shooter that puts you in the shoes of a pilot trying to defend the Earth from hordes of evil aliens. The graphics are typical of the era, with bright colors and enemies that float as if they've forgotten how to fly. The gameplay is simple, shoot and dodge, but be prepared for a hail of bullets that makes things more frenetic than go-kart racing on steroids. The action is fast and adrenaline-filled, and every match makes you feel like a galactic hero. After a while though, the gameplay can become repetitive, and the difficulty grows so exponentially that you'll feel like you're trying to climb a mountain with no equipment.
Moon Alien Part 2 is a follow-up that tries to keep the action of the original alive, but with some new features that try to surprise. Like its predecessor, the game drops you into a world full of aliens, but this time with a little more variety and chaos. The enemies look like they came out of an 80s comic and chase you as if they have a score to settle with you. The graphics are colorful and lively, although don't expect miracles. Advantages? The action is fast-paced and the new game mechanics add some spice to the experience. Defects? The difficulty can become relentless, and some levels seem more designed to make you break out in a cold sweat than to have fun.
Quasar, 1980, the Italian arcade game by Zelko/Zaccaria, is famous for two things, being damn difficult and making you regret having inserted another coin. Frantic gameplay. Pilot a tiny spaceship that shoots at everything that moves, trying not to get hit by a deluge of bullets. Easy, right? Seriously, good luck. The retro graphics are simple but effective. Colorful, yes, but don't expect visual masterpieces. The important thing here is to survive. Epic difficulty. Considered among the most frustrating games ever. Enemies everywhere, bullets everywhere, your patience? Somewhere else. Why is he so famous? Well, if you survive long enough, the gameplay is satisfying and every point earned is a small personal victory. Fun fact, Zaccaria, the team behind Quasar, has also created other titles, if you ever recover from this one. Do you want a challenge? Try it on MAME, but I warn you, this game is unforgiving.
R2D Tank is a tank battle game where you guide a tiny tank through a maze, dodging enemy bullets and collecting points. Simple, right? But be careful, because the enemies become more and more nervous. The gameplay is naturally basic, learn to play in 5 seconds. Avoid dying? A little less easy. The graphics are retro and colorful and cute, but don't expect masterpieces. It's still 1980. The enemies get tougher, and you'll soon find yourself cursing the maze. Collect upgrades for your tank, just to fool yourself into thinking you're in control. Would you like to try it on? Download a MAME emulator and prepare for some nostalgic gaming, and maybe a little frustration.
Red Baron by Atari, a title that will take you to fight in the sky during the First World War. Ready to feel like a real flying ace? Red Baron is a classic aerial shooter that puts you in command of a biplane, ready to challenge enemy forces in missions that will make even the most expert pilots' hearts beat faster. The graphics, for the time, are quite good, with landscapes and enemies that move with a certain elegance, unless you crash into a tree. The flying action is intense and the scoring system is motivating. Every takedown will make you feel like a real hero. And those aerobatic maneuvers? Applause! The flight physics can feel a little slippery, and the difficulty can make you feel more like an inexperienced pilot than an ace, with enemies following you as if they had built-in GPS.
Gottlieb's No Man's Land is the classic tank battle game that will have you cursing mazes and enemies for decades. Your objective: drive a tank through a labyrinth, avoid enemies, obstacles, and destroy the opponent's base. Simple, until you play it. The controls are simple: joystick to move and 2 buttons to shoot, one for the cannon and one for the machine gun. Not that they'll save you. An army of tanks and obstacles like walls, trees, and water to make your life hell. But wait! You'll get temporary bonuses to make you feel invincible, for about 3 seconds. The graphics are simple but functional. Well-designed tanks and mazes that will get you stuck right away. As well as the sound, gunshots and explosions that will make you feel a little better when you hit something. Final verdict: if you like a frustrating yet rewarding challenge, No Man's Land will keep you coming back for more rounds of misery.
Taito Space Cyclone is one of those arcade games that makes you feel like a real hero, at least until you get knocked down in 3 seconds. The game is so fast-paced that if you blink, you might already be dead. Think quickly or prepare for a nice game over. Colorful and simple graphics. Sure, the sprites are nice, but don't get too distracted, otherwise, boom. The enemies become more and more angry, and you more and more desperate. Every level makes you regret ever starting to play. But hey, wait for the bonuses. Oh, the bonuses. When you get one, you feel like you can destroy everything, for about 5 seconds, then you're back to harsh reality. In short, Space Cyclone is pure space mayhem, and if you love pain disguised as fun, this game is for you.
Sign up for more vintage mini reviews, and remember, in space no one can hear you scream when you lose your 10th life.